Hello everyone, welcome back and welcome to day 15 of the Life Renovation Program. I can't believe it's already halfway through already. Today we're going to be talking about micronutrients. So micronutrients include vitamins, minerals, and phytochemicals, and these are the nutrients that we need in small amounts compared to macronutrients, which we need in large amounts. So vitamins are complex organic molecules, and there's 13 different kinds. And they have all different functions in the body. One of their functions is to help replace old cells with new, healthier ones. They also help the body use macronutrients for energy, so these vitamins help to break down those individual building blocks of carbohydrates, fats, and even proteins. And there's fat-soluble and water-soluble vitamins, and we'll talk about what those ones are. And then there's also minerals, which are complex inorganic molecules, and there are 16 minerals known to be essential to humans. And then we'll also talk about phytochemicals, which are plant-derived compounds that have a very active role in biological activity, but they don't provide any kind of energy and they're not actually a nutrient. These are the chemicals that give foods or plants their characteristics, such as their color, their taste, their aroma, etc. There are about 17 different classes of different phytochemicals, and these phytochemicals are known to have a positive effect on human health, or scientific evidence has been published that shows a positive effect on human health. There are a couple that are controversial. And there are hundreds of different compounds in each of these 17 different categories. So that means that there are tens of thousands of different phytochemicals. Some of them, many of them, we do have information on in terms of what they do and where they're found, but others we don't know anything about, not yet at least. So let's start by talking about different vitamins. So there's the fat-soluble vitamins, which are vitamin A, D, E, and K. And these particular types of compounds are soluble in lipids or fats. So they're absorbed by fat molecules in the body and then stored in body tissues. And then there's also water-soluble vitamins, which are the B vitamins and vitamin C. And these aren't stored in the body and they're excreted readily. So if you've ever taken a multivitamin, which I hope everybody on this program is taking one, you might notice that after you take your vitamin, maybe you take it in the morning, and then you go, and the first time you pee after you take that multivitamin, your pee might be like a radioactively colored yellow. And that's just because that's the vitamin C and the B vitamins being excreted. So there's two reasons for this. The first reason, the preferable reason, is that your body used up all of the B vitamins or vitamin C that it needed and then excreted the rest. Or it might be because your particular brand of vitamin is not bioavailable, which means your body actually can't digest and absorb those vitamins, so it just excretes them, and they just pass right through. So that's why it's very important to get a bioavailable vitamin. But my point here is to not be afraid of the radioactive colored pee in the toilet after you take your multivitamin. It's completely normal. So vitamin A is one of the fat-soluble vitamins, and it is responsible for healthy vision. It's also responsible for proper protein synthesis and differentiation of cells, which means that each cell in the body has a different function, and at some point when new cells are being developed, they have to be tagged or be formed in such a way that they're able to carry out that certain function, and vitamin A helps to do this. It also helps to protect skin from sun damage, promotes healthy mucous membranes. It's needed for healthy reproduction. So scientists have found that it supports sperm count and normal fetal development during pregnancy. Vitamin A can be found in almost every animal food, and that's the most rich source of vitamin A, such as liver, fish liver, like cod liver oil, milk and milk products, grass-fed butter, and eggs. You can also find vitamin A in dark leafy greens and yellow and orange vegetables and fruits like cantaloupe, carrots, winter squash, and sweet potatoes. Vitamin D is the next fat-soluble vitamin, and this particular vitamin is not from a food source. It's actually made in the body with the help of sunlight. and the most important form is vitamin D3. So vitamin D actually acts as a hormone in the body, and it's important for brain, kidneys, intestines, and bones. It also helps to maintain blood concentrations of calcium and phosphorus, which is also very important for bone growth. Sources of vitamin D are sun exposure, and you want to limit this to 10 minutes a day, because even though sun exposure is good for us, there is a certain point at which it starts to become bad for us. When we get too many sun rays into our skin, that starts to develop some problems in terms of sun damage. And then if you live in an area that doesn't have a lot of sun, or you live in a climate that has long winters like we do here in New England, it's very important that you have a supplement of vitamin D during those times when you're not outside and you're not getting at least 10 minutes of sun exposure on your face and neck and basically your upper body. So supplementing with vitamin D3 is very important for those times. It's also connected with depression. So you've probably heard of seasonal affective disorder. And one of the primary causes for seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, is a vitamin D deficiency. So very important to get vitamin D in the winter when you're not being outside very much. Vitamin E, another fat-soluble vitamin, is a defender against free radicals. It helps protect cells from being damaged. It reduces inflammation, promotes healthy skin, and protects against heart disease by preserving LDL integrity. And LDL is the good cholesterol. So you can find vitamin E in nuts and seeds, leafy green vegetables, egg yolks, and olive oil. Vitamin K is mostly made in the gastrointestinal tract of the body with the help of bacteria that's there. The other half is from food sources. You need vitamin K for blood clotting and proper bone density, but you also need it for healthy skin, healthy heart, brain function, and development. Sources of vitamin K include chicken breasts, egg yolks, grass-fed butter or ghee, beef, and green vegetables. And animal foods have the highest source of vitamin K. All right, so moving on to the water-soluble vitamins, the B vitamins. There are 8 of them. I'm not going to go through all of them, but as you can see, they're all very important in metabolism of different macronutrients. They help to serve as building blocks of neurotransmitters, as hormones, as hemoglobin, and they also help with DNA synthesis or new cell formation. So vitamin B, they're all very important, and basically you can find them in most healthy foods like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and meat. So as long as you're eating a whole food-based diet, you're probably getting enough vitamin B vitamin. And then the last vitamin is water-soluble vitamin C, which serves as an antioxidant in the body, which protects tissues from oxidative stress and slows down aging. It's also a cofactor in collagen formation. So collagen is in all of your connective tissues, and it's basically the glue that holds you together. It's very, very important. It also helps with amino acid metabolism, boosts immune function, and helps your body absorb iron. Sources of vitamin C include citrus fruits, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, and cabbage, dark green vegetables. Red bell peppers have the highest levels of vitamin C in them, so if you can get those, that'd be great. Broccoli, strawberries, cantaloupe, mangoes, tomatoes, and papayas. So as long as you're getting a variety of all these things, you're probably fine. All right, moving on to minerals. So there are major minerals, which we need between 30 grams and 1,150 grams per day, depending on what the mineral is. And then there's trace minerals, which we need a lot less of, but we still need a tiny bit of in order for our cells to work properly. So here's the list of minerals. I'm not going to go over them. You've probably heard of them all. But I will talk about minerals in general. So minerals are inorganic, and their chemical structure remains the same from when we eat them to when we excrete them. So there's no conversion in the body the form that we eat them in is the form that we use them in and the form that we excrete them in. However, they can be attached to other substances or interact with other substances that can affect the body's ability to use them. They have different roles in all biochemical pathways in the body. They help to maintain the body's fluid balance. They're also involved in bone growth and health. And as I said, their absorption really depends on what they're bound with or what they interact with in the body. Sources of minerals are basically all foods, all healthy foods. Water is a really great source of minerals. That's why it's important to have water that's not distilled. Distilled water is completely absent of all minerals, so it's not providing any nutrition at all, and it could actually dehydrate you. So make sure you get regular water. And then pink Himalayan salt is also a really great source of minerals. Okay, moving on to phytochemicals. So here's a list of some of the categories of phytochemicals, although as mentioned earlier, there might be hundreds of different particular compounds within each category. Let's just go over a couple of them. Capsaicin is a phytochemical in hot peppers. Carotenoids includes phytochemicals such as beta-carotene, which are in carrots, and lycopene, which are in tomatoes. So you can find carotenoids in a lot of the brightly colored fruits and vegetables. Resveratrol you can find in blueberries, red grapes, and raw cocoa. Curcumin you find in turmeric. And then organosulfur compounds you can find in garlic, leeks, onions, and chives. So that's just a couple of examples. If you have, if you're interested in any more of these, you can just Google it or look it up in a basic nutrition book, and it'll go over what the different phytochemicals are and what their role is in the body. Phytochemicals are what makes a food functional, and what I mean by that is that it takes it beyond just the basic nutrition of macronutrients and vitamins and minerals, and actually takes it a step further towards maintaining health and preventing disease. So these are non-nutrient compounds that have a role in biological pathways. So functional foods that have a lot of phytochemicals in them are actually also called superfoods, and we'll talk about what some of those superfoods are later. But phytochemicals also contribute to normal cell development and reduce the effects of oxidative damage in the body, so they can not only help protect against cancer, but also protect against any kind of condition where there's an interference in cell development or where cells have been damaged by free radicals. So phytochemicals are really great antioxidant compounds and very important for not just the survival, but also the ability to have a lot of energy and to thrive. So they're very important chemicals. All right, so how can we identify and address different nutrient deficiencies? Well, you can go to a registered dietitian or a nutritionist, and these particular types of experts follow USDA guidelines, and they're clinically trained to treat patients with diseases. So they go to school, they get a degree, and they're able to treat specific diseases with specific levels of nutrients. Nutritionists focus on food allergies and sensitivities more so than the registered dietitians do, who solely basically just treat and prevent disease. These particular type of practitioners are recognized by the U.S. government as health practitioners, and they are able to accept most insurance plans. They also work in hospitals or private practices, things like that, to help doctors in coming up with a treatment plan for patients. The thing about RDs and nutritionists is they don't really identify specific deficiencies or their causes. They basically just give a program where to ensure that you're consuming a proper amount of nutrients from the food that you eat. but they don't really provide any information on how you're using those nutrients that are in that food. And they also don't consider phytochemicals. They just focus on macronutrients and vitamins and minerals. So they have a heavy focus on supplementation, further disease prevention, and just plain survival. And RDs and nutritionists are typically very specialized in the conditions that they treat and generalized in the treatments that they use. So they actually use guidelines that have been developed for the entire population as a whole, and these guidelines are based on averages for everyone, and they're not very specific to the individual, but they are specialized for different diseases. And then on the other side of the spectrum is a more holistic or bio-individual approach from functional medicine doctors or integrative nutrition coaches or health coaches. And functional medicine doctors actually can identify causes of deficiencies just by taking blood tests or a series of different tests. And then they can prescribe alternative treatments, which include herbs, phytochemicals, lifestyle changes, things like that. Integrative nutrition coaches, which is what I am, can actually hold you accountable to eating more functional foods, and can help to identify different food and non-food related issues that might be interfering with your health. So these include physical, emotional, lifestyle, stress-related, mental, and spiritual issues. These particular individuals are not covered by insurance. They're not recognized as healthcare providers in the United States, unfortunately, although there are some insurance companies that are starting to become a little bit more open-minded towards them. These particular practitioners also focus on a whole foods-based approach. They look at initial disease prevention, so instead of having somebody come to them with an already existing disease, they try to prevent it from occurring in the first place. Not all the time. There are people that switch over to a more holistic approach after they've been diagnosed, and they haven't found much success in healing using a specialized and generalized approach. They also use food as medicine to cure diseases instead of using medicine as medicine. And they help patients thrive, which ultimately increases their quality of life. So it's a lot more holistic, and it looks at the person as a whole rather than just treating their one particular disease or symptom. But regardless of what approach you use to identify and address nutrient deficiencies, it's very important that you start with your food and you eat a variety of plants and animals, proteins, vegetables, fruits, healthy fats, and water. All right, so that's all we have for today. I will talk to you all later. Thanks.